The member for Kiang West.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, cabinet ministers here present, various institutions, civil society, media, honorable Attorney General, honorable members, sometimes I ask myself if the oppositions in this parliament definitely forget the culture in this parliament. Let me tell you one thing. If these people I am facing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, those 4 benches, if they have if there is any legal provision that gives them an opportunity, right, to pass this bill without debate, they would have done it since in the morning. They would have. We are debating because the threshold is high. Had they have any opportunity to push this even without debate since 10 a.m., we would have gone home since in the morning. But the opposition, let me tell you one thing.
There's point of order from Janjambure.
Honorable members, I was watching at some point one deliberation by the former President of the United States, Barack, in the British Parliament. Prior to his deliberation, the moderator who took the floor said, history is more than the path left by the past. It influences the present and can change the future. History is quite important. Honorable members, sometimes we think about our actions, consequences of our actions in this parliament, consequences of our decisions in this parliament can haunt this country for more than 30 years. And this is what is happening today. Honorable Attorney General, I could remember very well when you presented the bill for the judiciary officers' remunerations and pension. I said this here. I said when you presented the draft constitution.
Con Finom gestire le spese di business è facile. Con la nostra app, pagamenti, fatturazione e contabilità.
Constitution. Those of you who rejected that, who were in the same government with you, today you are presenting a government bill. A bill that can go to another reading, that can go to consideration stage for us to make amendment. But they say no to that. What is the difference between those two? The very government members rejected that. Government members, I am not surprised. When you rejected that, I wasn't surprised. You are fond of rejecting the businesses that come from your own government. You did it in 2020, this was in 2023, 2024, when you did, I wasn't surprised. You are fond of rejecting business from your own government. Whether it is a pretense from the government bringing those businesses, I don't know. But it's a big surprise for government to bring a business here, where thorough cabinet consultation was done, approved by the president, and comes here, you reject that one. And today we are here seated. The constitution that you want to pass, I am surprised. I am very well surprised. When you're talking about dialogue as far as constitution is concerned, constitutional building is a systematic process. A process that must be consultative and inclusive and participatory. And not only consultative, but incorporation of the ideas that you've consulted from people. You have disregarded the consultative book, the consultative draft and you brought in a draft which was not consultative. My problem generally is about the process. Constitutional building is way beyond the content of the bill. It's about consulting people. And where those consultations start? This is why when you promulgated CRC, act from this parliament, what did you put there? Consultation from one community Bantaba to the other. I was privileged to attend Children Consultation Forum at the Rural Development Institute, where they spent more than 3-4 days. Children, underage, students from every family background, irrespective of the language and the color of their skin, converged and they expressed their views on that book. My mother, by the time, who was a market vendor, had an opportunity to express her view as to how she wants to be governed in the 2020 draft. I was opportune also to attend a public hearing in Kiang, where women, irrespective of their background, age, their education background, converged and expressed opinions on that book. This is the type of consultation we're talking about. The disability. These are the consultations we are talking about. And in fact, when we converged at the conference center, this mediation was done by a very respectable person. Good luck, Jonathan. We owe him a big thank, and we must tell him thank you very much for that mediation. But to tell you, Mr. Jonathan, the clauses that we have debated on to strike a compromise, it was at some point that even the opposition was ready to strike a compromise on some of the clauses when it comes to term limit, when it comes to, how to call it, you may also talk about citizenship and other clauses. We almost strike a compromise. Wallahi, that happened. And to our greatest dismay, when the draft was gazetted, we have seen more than 100 changes. You are talking about how bad the 1997 draft constitution, 1997 constitution is. 1997 constitution, no matter how bad it is, within the entire 22 rule, they were able to make not more than 52 changes, 52 amendments. Within 3-4 years span, you are able to make 120 plus amendments in a law. Which government is more bad than the other? I don't understand. That's a big irony. You wanted to sit here and witness that? To be honest, it is very painful to witness such a day. One of my senior honorable members said, there is no trust for us to push it to the next level. Let me give you those proofs. Let me give you those proofs. When the budget was brought in this parliament, anything that is brought in the budget as far as the state house allocation is concerned, when this parliament wants to reduce it, you always say no, and your no stands. You went to anti-corruption bill, you butchered it to zero. The illicit enrichment, unexplained wealth, that is the nucleus of that bill. It was removed. Everything was removed. If you have any opportunity to deny us to speak the right of the Gambian people, you do that. Here we have an opportunity to do that. There was a day I told minority leader, I said, it's very painful, minority leader. He told me, Nimbi Mutenenti Lumandanten. Minority leader, he told me that. And he told me, there will be a day, your minority will be important. You disregarded this caucus. Anything we advance as far as the amendment is concerned, you disregard it. You want to use your powers, your number. Thanks to the 1997 constitution that you are denying, we have this high threshold. You cannot pass this bill.
Yeah.
2020, I was sitting watching from debate to voting. I watched everything. I worked seriously because I know what has happened. Sometimes people talk about only $116 million. Can you imagine? You are talking about 116 million during your debate. The electricity that was used in this chamber. Can you imagine the printing of the papers? Can you imagine the sitting allowance? Can you imagine the air-conditioned chambers? Can you imagine the water that you have used? Can you imagine the food? It is way beyond 116 million. You throw everything in trust. And some of the honorable members, when you brought the bill entitled Judicial Officers Remuneration and Pensions Bill, some honorable members stood here and said the reason why they rejected the draft constitution was because of that clause. So they are also going to reject it. I'm not going to name names. They are my friends. So they rejected that bill. I wasn't happy. And today they are here, and the same clause is still in the bill, and they are asking to support it. I don't know. I don't know what is happening. The inconsistency. You can see inconsistency in everything. Honorable Speaker,
There is point of order. Honorable members, order.
Honorable Speaker, point of order.
There is point of order.
Clause 21, content of speech. No, 5. No member shall input improper motive to any other honorable. Only member is input improper motive to honorable members by calling on inconsistency. Inconsistency, Honorable Speaker. Inconsistency. Honorable Speaker, inconsistency. Honorable Speaker, inconsistency. That's what Honorable Member is saying.
Order. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, order, please. Order. Honorable member, your point of order is not sustained. Honorable member, please continue.
there is a clear lack of consistency in execution of your mandates, of your responsibilities. Several times we will debate about numerous things here. We talk about accountability. Somebody has spoken about that clause, which even pains me more. Where when the executive leaves office, the spouses of the president will not declare assets. So you want them to go and register all our assets under their spouses and they go scot-free? Those are the type of clauses you put in this. You look at the procurement clauses. Procurement clauses where cabinet members can own companies where procurement contract could be awarded to government contracts. Which government should allow that? What is wrong with putting ministers before here and ask them questions? I don't doubt any ability of any of the members, any of the ministers are present. I don't doubt any one of them. If anybody failed to serve members of cabinet to come here when nominated by president to be scrutinized, to be asked questions as per their competence. That is not in this law. We are never going to allow that. And honorable members, let me remind you one thing. Please, tighten your belt very well. Because from now against the end of this legislature, today is not the last day you will be humiliated beyond disgrace. They are coming numerous times, one after the other. We've dealt with...
Point of order. Honorable Speaker, point of order.
There is a point of order.
Yeah, I'm rising on order 60. On a motion being moved that a bill be read a second time, the general merits and principles of the bill may be debated. Okay? So just to avoid and for the interest of the gallery to understand the debate, this debate is not final. This debate is not final. So we would like all members to just debate on the merits and the principles of the bill.
Order, honorable members, order. Honorable members, you know the honorable speaker made a ruling earlier on. We are debating on the general merits and principles of the bill. and take into account that it's a cross-cutting issues. So making references to other bills or other acts is not out of order. So order not sustained.
Speaker. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Please proceed. Honorable members, order.
I am happy because when somebody is desperate, what can you do? Nothing. Nothing you can do. And honorable members, what I'm saying here is, this is not the last time you will face such a difficult moment. We are rejecting this bill today. Come Thursday, if God wishes, inshallah ya Rabbi, on Thursday, when we were debating on the SONA speech, I told you, please withdraw before on the 7th, and here we are on the 7th. And when I debated on 2024 SONA speech, when the president said, we hope that the Constitution will go to referendum by December 2024, I thought there was no proper advice rendered to tell him the actual processes of constitutional building. Because I knew that was not going to happen, that was not feasible. In March or April, you cannot expect a constitution to go to referendum in December when it's supposed to be gazetted late in the National Assembly, go for different stages before it goes to referendum. But unfortunately, the constitution that was hoped to go to referendum in December 2024 is rejected, will be rejected on the 7th of July 2025. I never pray for this to be in your legacy as a justice minister. But this is your fate. This is your fate because your own people do not understand the process that you are on, or they do not understand their brief very well, or you do not do your work very well to brief them well. When they are rejecting numerous bills that you're bringing here that are progressive and they are rejecting them, what do you want us to do for you today? We have nothing to do for you today, rather to reject this constitution. Honorable Speaker, when I consulted Kiang West constituent members, I want to thank National Council for Civic Education for their effort. They consulted me and they went to Kiang West constituents, joined with Kiang Central, and they had an engagement with them. And I was sent their discussion and the recommendations. And I went through all the recommendations that National Council for Civic Education did. It was great, it was perfect. And we want to thank you so much, National Council for Civic Education. Despite the fact that you were not involved at the right stage, but you took it upon yourself to tour the length and breadth of this country, to consult every constituent. Even though I wasn't here, but I was told about your consultation. But the fact of the matter is that is not the beginning of the process. That is not the beginning of the process. If you go to CRC Act, it tells you the beginning of the constitutional building process. I'm not a legal practitioner. But AG, who is a legal practitioner, you know the process of the constitutional building. And some of you will be knocking your head and knock your head until the end of the day, we are still going to reject it. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, let me make this very clear to all of you. History will judge all of us as public leaders. This term limit you are crying, so long as you don't ensure accountability and transparency in public office, we don't care about it.
Ogni giorno tonnellate di aiuti umanitari entrano a Gaza. Vengono imballati e distribuiti
Care about it. when there is term limit, no matter how long a leader stays in office, if there is no accountability and transparency, that makes no sense. If our leaders are spending only 5 years, if we want, let's put only 5 years in the bill, as every president. If there is no transparency, if there is no accountability, that is meaningless. That makes no sense. This is what you are envisioning here. We are never going to allow that. The leadership that we trust should be a leadership that manifests that trustworthiness and who wants accountability. How many issues were raised in this parliament with respect to accountability and transparency? They were never responded to, they were never respected. If we are saying it's the issue of 1997 Constitution, 1997 Constitution ordered us to promulgate acts of parliament, how we go by certain activities of our country. When it comes to the appointment of the paramount chief, for how long, which is a legislative provision, President refused that. Complained in this parliament for numerous times and nothing happened about. More than $60 million is violent without the approval of the minister, which is a legislative provision. You have disregarded laws of this country numerous and numerous times. It is not about the law. It's about the government. I think we need a total character transplant, a total DNA transplant for the government. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Kiang West. Honorable members, there were members who were called earlier who were not on their seat. And the outcry of the minority leader is what I realized, that members would wait if they think that they want somebody to speak before them. At the time when they have written their name, they will just go out. And then when those people are called, they come back and want to talk. I will not entertain that. This one is regards the constitutional promulgation bill, where every member